And good morning. Happy New Year. You are watching episode 5 of Hey Nikki. This is a Beyond Eons production, and I'm your host, Nikki Johnston. So let me show you something first. Forgive me if you see some boxes. All right, let's do a poll. Who all still has their Christmas tree up? I'm going to try to keep it up as long as possible. Actually, when we go for a walk throughout the day, there's still a lot of trees up. So I'm going to see how long I can make it last. Maybe through St. Patrick's Day. I have no intention of putting hearts or shamrocks on my tree. But I really like the lights. So it's just reminiscent of the Christmas season, and it's fun. I like it, right? I don't know. I was thinking about putting lights up on the balcony too, so we'll see. But anyways, that's the first question. So if you have your Christmas tree up, let me know. And secondly, I am really trying to move my show fully over to Hey Nikki Show, which is the handle for these episodes. And I have no idea why. I looked it up on Instagram and it just said if you have a new account, it may take you a while to be able to go live. So I'm asking you guys, for those of you who follow me on AWT Nikki Style, if you can please go over and follow me on Hey Nikki Show as well. I'd really like to move everything over there so that I can keep AWT Nikki Style more training, working out, and all that other stuff that I was doing before, which I hope to start up again. Okay, so we are just starting episode 5. I am so excited to bring on Sarah Maynes. She is a childhood friend of mine. Wow, we have been through a lot together. We've been separated for many years. And fortunately and unfortunately, the death of my brother brought us back together. And boy, did I find out some shit about her. So I'm going to bring on Sarah Maynes, and she's going to talk to us all about it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and let's see if we can get her on. Woo! Okay, Sarah still has her tree up. That's one. Awesome. And my parents do too, but we're going over there to take it down, so they don't count. All right, girl, let me see if I can get you on here. Let's check my volume. Hi, Remy. Are you still here? Do you have your tree up? Yes. Remy has his tree up too. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning. How are
Good.
you?
How are
I'm
you?
good. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Same.
Oh my goodness. So it's interesting, like all the guests that I have on, there's millions and millions of stories
Right.
that people can share. And when you and I talk, we can end up talking for like 3-4 hours. So
Right.
we're going to try to condense your story into 45 minutes to 60 minutes. So the clock is on.
All right.
All right.
I love
So why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll get into the meat of the story.
I'm Sarah Maynes. Nikki and I have known each other since high school. Like she said, it's been, I would say on again, off again relationship. It just has had distance between us. And I would say like kind of breaks where we
Yeah.
needed to grow our lives and kind of get to that point. But I am 45 years old. I have been a medium clairvoyant since I was, I would say, 12, 13 years old. And I've been seeing, but I tell people it's like I see the dead, I see spirits, I see all types of things, angels, devils, you name it. And I've, over the years, it's taken me a long time to get there, but I've started to use it to help other people. I'm doing readings for people. I do classes now on how to teach how to connect to spirituality and spirits yourself. I also do meditation and much more than that, but I didn't start doing that probably till I would say maybe 10 years ago, a little more than 10 now,
Mhm.
maybe like 15-ish at the most, where I've actually delved in and started doing this more as a part-time job, and really being able to help and use my gift in the way that I've always wanted to, but never was sure how to do it till more recently.
Yeah, it's interesting how we try to put a delineation between what our passions are and what we do for a living. So it's like when you say job, I totally resonate with that because you don't want to say job. It feels kind of cringy because you're like, it's my passion, it's what I love, it's what I want to do for everybody, but it's still a means to make money. So in essence, it's a job. But you're moving in that direction of that being the only thing you do. But for our viewers, what is your full-time job? What do you do for a
So
living?
I work for a company called Carroll Seating Company, and what we do is we are in the construction industry, and I specialize in the cabinets part. So for schools, hospitals, municipalities, anything but residential, basically, we do the cabinets. So if you remember in high school, the wood cabinets with the black tops in some of your science classrooms, we do those. We work with it, and they haven't changed. It's the same exact look. Libraries, plastic laminate, things that are a little bit more when you go to your doctor's office and see those, but also the things you see in maybe your school, your children's classrooms and libraries, some of the more specialty items.
Okay.
We also do. The company also does seating, gym equipment, stadium seating, bleachers. That is not in what I do. I don't specialize in that end. I project manage and estimate on the cabinet side.
Okay.
So that's the
So cool.
mm-hmm.
And you have a long journey in construction, but that again, we could go
Hour.
way deep diving into that.
Yeah.
All right, so so for you guys know, Sarah's been in construction for a very long time, and this is the season of her life that she's in working with this specific company. So she's had her own business. She's been through the gamut of
Yes.
all the shit with this type of work.
Yeah.
But what I want to do, okay, so let me give you guys some information. So when I was pregnant with Raven, I Sarah came to my baby shower, right?
Yep.
I didn't even recognize you. I did not.
I know. I
So
remember you're like, who is this chick?
leg- okay, so this was okay. Sarah was this little, scrawny, skinny, no boobed
I
girl.
barely made pounds when I graduated high school. I was like 99 pounds maybe when I graduated high school.
And then when what? So I was pregnant at 30. Okay, so it had been years since I'd seen Sarah, and she came to my baby shower. She was a woman. Like she grew. I think you grew a little bit
I
taller.
did.
You had a rack. I was like,
Yeah, no,
what? And I just
where?
it was the wildest thing. So it's like from there, it's like we already skipped so much in between from high school and a couple years after high school because we had met a couple times in between. But it's just interesting, like the breaks, like how much change has happened. And more recently, when my brother passed away, Sarah came to the homecoming party for my brother back in Chicago. That's where Sarah is now. And not even there did I know that she had this gift. I had no idea. So she's in this bar with all of us, probably trying to block out all these spirits and crazy people in there. And I'm just talking to her like we normally talk. And then I don't remember what happened after that. What, what was it? You just sent me a message from him, like something.
Right. So, like Nikki said, she didn't know about this. Actually, most people did not know about this. It was something I had kept a secret because at that time, especially when I was in high school, you didn't talk about this. I mean, you were weird. People didn't believe you, so it was always kept a big secret. But so Nikki's brother had come to me, and I saw him when we were at the bar, and he and I talked a little bit. But I wasn't prepared. It wasn't the place or time to really say anything to Nikki or her family. So later on, her brother and I talked and had conversations. So I promised him I would tell her everything he had to say. So I passed it along to her, and it was kind of like, "Hey, just want to let you know I see dead people. And by the way, your brother came to talk to me. Um, had this gift for a long time. I know you didn't know, but here's what he had to say." And that's it. It was like a real quick, "Hey, by the way, talk dead people. Brother needs to talk to you. Here's what he has to say. Love you. Let me know if you need anything else." Yeah. How do I? I've never told her, so now I need to bring like, not about me, about him. Make it sweet and simple, and then just tell her everything he had to say. And that
Yeah.
really, and then she's like, I think it was probably a day later. She's like, "What do you mean you can do that? And you've how long? And you never said anything? And thank you so much for the message. It means everything to me. But we need to talk." And I was like, "Okay." So yeah, so it was one of those things when I was 12 years old. I was probably 12 going on 13. And I started seeing, like I said, I see both good and bad. So I see demons, I see angels, I see spirits, entities. I see everything that anybody who's ever psychic or anything you've ever seen online that talks about like orbs and all that. I see it all. And it first started off with just seeing pretty much the evil part of my gift, where seeing the demons and things like that. And about a month in, I saw a person standing in my room, and I said, I finally just had to get say, like, look, I go, I can see you. And he was like, I know. And we started talking, and I found out he was my spirit guide.
Okay.
And that's when I started realizing what was going on. I wasn't going crazy. I really was seeing things. And I told my parents, who at first did not believe me, but over probably a few months, when I started telling them things that I wouldn't know about people who had died before I was born, family members, things that my other like people had passed, and being able to say, oh, I know who that person is. They come visit me, and that's so and so, and she was married to this person, and oh, that's great Aunt Louise, which is how I got my middle name. And my mom's like, well, yes, but you've never seen her. Like, oh no, I've seen her. We've talked. Then realizing I wasn't crazy or making it up or dreaming, and over time, it was just learning how to deal with it by myself. Because, well, during that time, nobody wrote books. Psychics were the people who you called the 900 numbers for. There wasn't anybody out there for me to talk to about it. And in religion, I was raised Catholic, and this is a big no. Like, you're going to hell, you're only talking to demons, all these bad things are going to happen to you. You cannot do this. So I couldn't go to a priest and talk to them. My parents had no clue. There's nobody in my family that we know of that has this gift, that has, if they have had it, nobody's talked about it. So I would be what we consider a first generation. I do have a niece that has the gift, who's choosing. Angela can do this. She yeah, Angela sees things and she's a healer. She still chooses to take that path.
No way. Oh my God.
So when she started seeing things, I could help her because I did. And people in my family knew what I could do for the most part, but not, again, nobody, it was still kind of secret. We didn't talk about it. I didn't go out and use it. It's like, don't tell people.
So let me ask you something real quick. Why, and I don't know with the research that you've done over the years, why is it that you saw evil first? Do you know? Yeah. Is it different for everybody, or is that common?
It's different for everybody. For me, it's because their goal is to make you not do this. They don't want you helping people. That is what they're supposed to do. Their meaning and purpose is to not have you help other people. And I started having this gift with the purpose of doing what I do. This is the reason why I'm here. This is what I was born this lifetime, is because I'm supposed to help people. I'm supposed to use this gift. And so when it first started, their goal is to scare you, and then you kind of you don't use it. You don't make it grow. You don't learn about it. And if that's what happens, then they do what their job is. I don't do what I'm supposed to do, and they win on their half, and I'm not helping people. So that was part of the reason why I first started seeing the evil, was because they were like, she just started, scare her, and then she won't do this. And well, my family line, we don't understand what it means to be scared and told no. So yeah, we keep.
So that's an interesting part. Like, if someone's personality is integrated into that, because so it's being a female and being young and being in that position. I would imagine most girls would be scared, like be pushed away. But it's interesting because you weren't, so their purpose didn't work, obviously. But was that all part of the plan? Like, how do you sort that out? Because it makes sense. Like, you're resilient, you're strong, you're stubborn, you don't take no for an answer. This was gonna flourish. Maybe you needed the evil first to flourish it versus.
I think that's part of it. It's as much, you believe in a higher power, which I believe in God, there is a purpose. There's a reason why things happen to you. There's no such thing as coincidence. So things happen to you in a certain way because that's what you need to get to where you're supposed to go. As much as people say, well, why does it always have to be hard? Because we didn't have those hard times, we wouldn't build the resilience. We wouldn't be able to have the background and the spirit within us to be able to say, I can do this because I've been
Right.
through hard times. I can go through this. This is no different than last time or the time
Mm-hmm.
before, or the lessons I've learned from before now makes me stronger to be able to handle what's coming to me. And
Okay.
so that, because I went through what I would say a harder path than some who have this gift, who got to see angels first and be told what was going on, I'm able to mentor other people, especially kids who are going through this, because I understand
Right.
what's going on. I've been through the fear part. I've been through those hard times.
Mm-hmm.
So I can, if they haven't seen it, I can tell them, be prepared. These are things that are going to happen. And we talk about it. And I can teach now because of it,
Mm-hmm.
because I've done it as a child. And that's where the difference is if you're a kid and you've only seen the good stuff, when you do start seeing the evil stuff and the bad stuff, it's harder to deal with because your only thing you've ever known is the good.
Right.
And for me,
Right.
I right off the bat got to know both sides
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
quickly.
So, okay. So you're 12, 13 years old. Take us through like middle school and high school, just kind of just a nice overview of how this part of you played into your life over those years.
So what makes it difficult is that at the time I did not know how to turn it off and on. That's something I learned much later. So I saw and had to deal with spirits all day long, all the time. And the thing is that if you are clairvoyant, you can see them. You're like a big beacon and light for them. They like, oh, she can see me. I have to talk to her because they want it. They have something to say. They're drawn to you because you see them, and
Mm-hmm.
this is somebody that they can talk to. This is somebody who can give them relevance or whatever it is they need, or just want to be seen and
Mm-hmm.
heard. So when it happens is that, and you're a kid trying to take a test in school, and you have a spirit, excuse me, can I talk to you? Hey, hey, yeah, hi. I know you're busy, but let me talk to you. You're like, and nobody knows. You can't out loud be like, excuse me, could you go away from me?
Right.
Or so some spirits can hear you in your head. You don't have to actually verbalize it, but no doesn't always work. So I'd be taking a test, or I'd be in class and be dead people, people walking around. I walk through school and I would see other spirits and it'd be like, baby, I'll be left alone today. And there are times I'd go out in high school with my friends. I'd be like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So I'd be like, go away. And I could talk to nobody's in there, be like, go away, leave me alone. But I need to like, no, I can't help you. I don't know. You're like, leave me alone. So I'd be waking up at night. I'd have time in school. I'd be talking to my friends, and there'd be a spirit behind me going, "Hi, excuse me." And I was like, keep looking at them. Don't let anybody know that you can see. It's like, yeah, all right. So it was really difficult because it was 24/7, and I couldn't get a break. I didn't tell any of my friends what was going on. I, you know, you're not normal where, everybody can go to school and you're just doing your test or you're doing your homework or you're talking to your friends. You don't have somebody who's whispering in your ear or tapping you on the shoulder trying to get your
Right.
attention when you're just trying to be out with
Yeah.
people. And so that was very difficult for me and made it, I always say it took away part of my life, but because I didn't know what I was doing and there wasn't anything to help me, I was constantly bombarded with them. And so it was kind of like, I need a break. How do I turn this off? And it wasn't till my 20s. Well, yeah, 20s. There was books out. So I started reading books.
Okay.
And it was probably, I want to say late 20s. I started learning how to turn it off, like a light switch,
Mm-hmm.
right? Turn it off or turn it on. But I would always tell people, like, if I turn it on, there's no turning it back off for me. You can be like, okay, I'm on for a minute, turn it off. It's like, it's on for the rest of the night. But I did start learning how to control it better and how to um, tell them to leave me alone for a little bit or when I needed a break.
Mm-hmm.
And that huge difference. But until then, it was, you know, excusing myself from my friends or trying to be left alone in a room and just be like, can you all just go away? Or, there wasn't an easy way. And then so try being a teen, going through puberty and all that kind of stuff, high school, all that high school crap, and have friends and have a social life and have a job, and also deal with dead people and spirits and everything else walking around you constantly and talking to you and angels, and then trying to learn about why you have this gift, and spirit guides teach you about why you have the gift, how to use all these things, and past lives. And then so I'm learning all of this on top of, and then, you know, trying to keep my Catholic faith and all these different things. And I was just like, this, it was close to impossible. I'm really surprised I never broke down and said anything to anybody,
Right.
saying like, I can't, like standing up in class and going, I can't do anymore. Just everybody leave me alone, you know? But I was so scared how people would look at me. And I was so insecure when I was younger that that really was the main reason. Is like, I didn't have a ton of friends. I was already considered pretty weird anyways. And I was like, I want somewhat of a normal life. I wasn't
Right.
ready to accept my gift as being what was my normal. So yeah, it was,
Wow.
yeah, all.
That's tough. So I have a question for you, I think two.
Hmm.
One, are spirits and angels and devils, are they confined to a space? Because you're going to see some people somewhere and not others, or is it just wherever you are, they're coming to that beacon, and whoever is a medium, certain ones will gravitate towards you no matter where you are.
Some are confined to spaces because that is a choice they've made.
Okay.
So let's start with angels. Angels are everywhere. They're never confined anywhere. Their purpose is to protect you. So they are never confined to any space. Some spirits are confined to spaces because they have decided to stay confined. You have two types of spirits, basically. You have those who passed on and got crossed over, which means they've, if you believe in heaven, then they've crossed over to heaven. They understand that they're dead. They understand what's going on, but they can go anywhere and be anywhere at any time and in multiple
Mhm.
places at once if that's what they choose to do. Then you have those who haven't crossed over. For whatever reason, they're staying here. They feel they have to stay here for their family. Their death was very, like a severe car accident that kills somebody instantly.
Mhm.
They don't know they died. The shock of the death, their spirit has not prepared for, and it's kind of like, we're not dead, but they know they are, but they're not sure. So they're kind of stuck here because of that. And then there's people who just refuse to cross over, you know,
Mhm.
that they just don't want to. So they stay confined to certain areas because they want to be around those people. There's some, if it's a house, an older couple who maybe died in the house they bought, they stay because they love the house and they want to see people there. But usually at some point in time, everybody there's a, they get help or they will cross over when they understand that it's, if they don't cross over, how it hurts their family members here because they still feel their presence because they're kind of stuck in between.
Right.
So that happens between spirits. Then you have on the demon side, demons can go anywhere they want, but there's different levels of demons. So you have what, like your poltergeist demons. They can't go anywhere they want. They have to be tied to an object. And
Okay.
so that's somebody who takes a demon and attaches it to, I don't know, let's say a set of keys or something, a vase in the house. Or like if you remember the movie The Poltergeist, it was the TV.
Okay.
Poltergeists need to be attached to an object to be able to stay here. If they're not, they go back to hell until they are once again attached to something. So
Okay.
there's, like different levels, and for demons that they can do different things depending on what type of level they are. So you can have haunted houses because both types of spirits, evil spirits will stay because, well, people, they can scare people, and then the good spirits will stay because, well, there's a purpose for them to be there, that they
Okay.
remember the house because that's where they grew up, or something like that. So there's a combination of different things that happen.
So
Is that,
it's interesting because I think I would have been really open at that. Obviously, you didn't know that, but do you remember Irene?
yes.
So I don't know if you ever had a relationship with her, but her house was supposedly haunted. So I believe there was maybe a fire. There's something happened where I think someone may have died on the property. So we were over there, right? We were all playing light as a feather, stiff as a board. Legit. Okay, so supposedly you're supposed to put someone on the floor on their back. You're supposed to say a story of how the person died, and you're supposed to put your, four fingers each. So there's a bunch of girls around us. Kid you fucking not. We raised her to the ceiling.
Well,
And
I
I
remember
was,
your story because I mean, we were friends. I was friends with her through you,
right,
but
right,
yeah. But I remember you guys telling me a story, and I was like, God, I could like, if only she knew
right.
what was in her house, like how to get rid of it, and like all these different things. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything
Oh
because
my
like
God, I
they're
would
like,
have loved that.
I was like, they're gonna laugh at me. They're not gonna believe me. I'm like, I'm very, because that's what through my head was like, yeah, because I believe what happened. And I was like,
Yeah,
I totally believe it. I was like, because I know, it's like, well, I could talk to her spirit guide, so I could know her spirit guide's like, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, there's some spirits that are hanging out that need to leave, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to go to her house because I don't want to see it. Like, I'm not sure how to handle seeing that. Yeah,
yeah,
part of
yeah.
it. If I go to her house, I know I'm going to see them. They're going to talk to me. Then what do I do? So it's kind of a combination of things. But I do remember that story and thinking, totally,
You
I know what happened. And like, but I'm not going to say anything.
Dude, I mean, we got her up to the ceiling. She opened her eyes. She freaked out. I think she hit the ceiling from what I remember because it was in the basement, so it was a really relatively low ceiling. And Irene would tell me all the time different things that would happen in the house. The lights would flicker. She'd hear noise. I think at some point she heard screams too. So, yeah, I mean, being uh, and I've always been scared of scary movies. Like, I don't know if it's because of that, but I've never like really wanted to dabble in Bloody
Right.
Mary or Ouija boards. I mean, I did once or twice back then, but I can't remember the timeline of what came first. But yeah, and to this day, I don't like any of those things. And even this, what we're going over, has given me so much more clarity on what is what. It's actually comforting because you know the limitations of different spirits, especially the evil ones that are around you. Obviously, you don't want to have anything near you, but to know that like what their range
Yeah.
is.
And especially people say, oh, evil spirits can hurt you. They really can't. As much, people can get scratches, yes, but that's because you're giving them power. The more you recognize and get scared of them, the stronger they
Mm,
get. Like for me, when I was a kid, the evil ones would pull my covers really tight around me. And I could feel like the sides pull tight. And I was like, okay, everything's all right. It's going to be fine. And I could hear them and I could see them, but they never could do anything like push me down a flight of stairs or cut me or anything like that. The only way that happens is if you give them you say it's okay for them to do it, basically.
mhm,
So there are many levels, but we have what's called free will, and that is our saving grace in so many ways, that
right.
unless you give that up completely, they have no power to do anything to you.
Okay.
It's your choice in deciding, yes, I'm going to allow them to scare me, or like you said, you hear the stories, oh, they can do this, so these demons are definitely going to hurt me, I know it. Well, you're giving them that ability to
Giving
do
it power.
believe that it's going to happen. So then they're going to be able to. So that's the one thing I always tell people, is that as scared as you might be of the evil spirits, there is very little that they can do to you
Mhm.
unless you. So the fear is, a lot of times the fear is all they need. They just need you to be scared. The more
Yeah.
scared you are, the less you're going to do about things, and
Well,
that's more than enough control for them.
Well, it's interesting. Since I learned about what you can do, I've reached out a couple of times. And before we moved to this apartment here, when we were over in the other house, I would tell you I'd feel something when I would pass a certain home. And every time I go, and I tried not to anticipate it, but I would still get a wave of feeling. And then even here, so we have like a path that goes around our apartment complex, and I'll get in one area and like this chills just go, and I'm like, and I can't shake it, so like I'm like, get out. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to get my mind in a place where I'm like, I'll literally like do this as I'm walking. I'm like, get out of my body, like move away from me. because I don't know what's going on, and it's like I don't feel like there's a temperature change. It's not consistent every time I walk there, but the few times, and also I'll be listening to things like a YouTube video, either self-help or health or something, nothing related to spirits,
Right?
and I'll just have this strong feeling, and I just, it does not feel good at all.
That's what I people, because they're like, how do you know if it's a good or a bad spirit? You know, everybody has the sixth sense. It's just a matter of how much you use it. The
Mhm,
gift I have, as special and meaningful people say this, everybody can do what I do. That's part of things I teach,
mhm,
is that everybody has it in them. So when you walked into a room or you walk past someone, you get the hair on the back of your neck stands up, you get goosebumps, you get chills, something doesn't feel right, that's your sixth sense saying there's something bad there.
mhm,
There's a bad spirit, something bad happened, there's bad energy. So like when people say, I walk past this house, like you say, like go past this house, there's something evil in that house. There's
yeah,
something evil on that property. And your sixth sense, your angels, your spirit guides are telling you, don't go there. There's
yeah,
something bad that's
yeah,
there. And that's the same thing. You can walk past spirits that are bad and you can feel it.
yeah,
And like what you say, it's like, get out of me. You're not allowed here, meaning
mhm,
you cannot attach to me. You cannot come home with me. You can stay right where you're at.
yep,
And that's what you do. You should always say, nope, I am good. Like you're not allowed to come with me. You stay here out of my space. And like I'll tell people, imagine a warm white light around you that's protecting you. And that does it too. I mean, there's many different ways of doing protections for yourself. But like you said, you just, even if it means you absolutely say out loud, if you can't just do it in your head, it's not strong enough, and you have to say, no, this is my space, you're not allowed. And
yeah,
you keep walking. We are we have complete power over demons. They can't do anything to us. We do have control. We can tell them what to do and how to do it and where to go and all that type of stuff.
right,
And so that's what people, it's like, I do cleansings of homes where people have had bad spirits and things in there. It's like, you could do it yourself too. I mean,
yeah.
I appreciate the job, I appreciate the money, but it's like, I can teach anybody to do it. It's a matter of willpower and just, following certain steps, basically.
Now, is that draining for you? So I was talking to, so I was working with someone down in Florida, and she does fusions, which she's also a medium. And it's interesting because when you were talking about being Catholic and how the two collide, so she doesn't call herself a medium, and I think she's still grappling with the fact that she is religious, and that is a no-no. So like, and she's older, she's in her 60s. So it's interesting to me that she has a beautiful gift like you do, and she uses it well, and she's not afraid to use it. But I think there's still something in her that's meddling with the fact that like religion, that she's separating religion and her spiritual gift based on her religious upbringing. I think. I don't know for sure, but that's what it feels like.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, because that was the hard part for me is trying to talk to priest about it. And
Yeah.
I tried different. I just didn't do Catholic. There's other Christian religions I've tried, and boy, that just didn't really go very well anywhere. So I started realizing what how different religion is than spirituality. And so
Hmm.
I realized you can believe in God and not have a religion. And I started realizing that I will take my Catholic upbringing and use that for some of the things, but I started realizing that my spirituality and the things I was learning from my spirit guides was very different.
Yeah.
And but it didn't make me a bad person. It didn't mean I didn't
Right.
believe in God or have a connection with them, because there are people who find out what I do and they're like, oh, I'll pray for you. And that's
Yeah.
a devil thing. And it's like, well, you can pray for me. I appreciate it. Thank you. And okay.
Right. Right.
But they look at you like, put up a cross, stay away from me, evil woman. And it's like, oh, and I've had people who drop off pamphlets about God and Jesus. And like, wait, hold on. I have an amazing relationship with God. I believe in Jesus
Hmm.
Christ. That's like, just because I'm a medium and I practice my spirituality with people and I use my gift, does not mean I'm going to hell
Right.
or I'm going to walk into a church and burn up instantly, or if you splash with holy water, it will burn. No, these people existed during Jesus' time and they were not condemned to hell. And so we just have to remember that there's a difference between our belief systems
Mm-hmm.
and our gifts than what religion teaches. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you've been raised in a very strong faith, it's a very difficult thing to separate the two and to say, this is a gift God gave me. This is not something the devil wants me to do. And so it's hard. And it makes it very difficult. And I've worked with people who have that. And it's a very, they're like, but, my pastor tells me, and I say, that's because that's what they've learned. That's what they've been taught. And that's what, you know, their belief is. It's like, it's okay to do what you're doing as long as you still have, you do it for the right reasons and you have you believe in your higher power.
Right.
So it's difficult. It took me a while to finally be like, okay, appreciate the priest, I appreciate the pastors, I
Right.
appreciate all the religious leaders, but that's not who I am. And I have found very religious people who believe in me and don't condemn me and just say, I believe that God gives these gifts to people. And that's where they say what my religious says is one thing, but I firmly believe God does this and that you're meant to do this.
Right.
So just a matter of trying to work through it and finding your peace with it, how to make peace with it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like religion puts us into a box
Yeah.
and doesn't let us out. But you're telling us we're supposed to believe in someone we've never seen, but yet you can't believe in angels? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, it feels like religion's so apt to putting the interpretation, say, of the Bible. Like the interpretation is to each their own for the most part. Obviously, there's story. Obviously, there was an intention
Right.
there, but we can all derive different things from it, and that's how we are different as humans. But then it's like, but oh, you can't believe in angels, or but we do believe supposedly in the devil. So why don't we believe in everything in between?
And then the also part is like, well, you can't see them. Well, why can't I? People in the Bible talk to angels and spirits all the time, and demons and the devil and all this stuff. And they're, well, were you saying you're a prophet? I wouldn't call myself a prophet, but is that what you consider it, a prophet? Maybe that is then what I am. And that upsets people. It's like, wait, why did it stop? Like, why did all of a
Right.
sudden, like we now believe that you can't do this? But during the Bible times, that was never a bad thing.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay. So I have realized over the years is that religion is a way of following a belief, a way of following God's plan or your higher power, Allah, whoever it is. It's a backstory, but it's also tells you these are the rules. This is how you are supposed to have your faith, how you believe in this higher power, how you praise this higher power. And I hate to say it's a control thing because every faith has, as much as they're similar, have their own twist to it.
Yeah.
It's a control thing. It's the rules, and this is what it must be. Spirituality is much more open. Spirituality is like I can believe in a higher power and I can believe in all these other things too. And I don't have a structured way of believing anymore. I have an understanding that there's parts of the Catholic faith about the different Arabic faiths, the different Christian faiths, all the different faiths out there. There's something part of it, all of them, that is the same. And
Yep.
all of them have something important to say. So it's like I don't need the rules and the guidelines because now I see things differently. I understand God much better than I did through any religion. I
Mhm.
understand the purpose of evil and the devil on a bigger scale than I ever did through religion. And so spirituality gives you a more broader, open view and understands that all you have to do is believe
Right.
and give praise. It doesn't matter if what you call God. It doesn't matter how you do it, that you yourself are a piece of that higher power.
Right.
And that is what is the most powerful thing. And that's, Catholics don't really like being told that that's, their way is not the
Right.
best way. And, and my mom is still at times will tell me that this bothers her.
Yeah.
She knows that I'm doing is good and she believes in me and knows that I have this gift. But she's so scared that it's like I'm going to end up in hell because of it.
Right.
And when I talk about things that are not the same things with the Catholic belief system anymore, because I've learned from my spiritual guides, from angels, that things are not quite what you learned. And she's just like, wow, Sarah. I was like, Mom, it's okay. You know, I don't have the same belief systems.
Right.
And there's times I see her struggle with it, where she's like, what she says makes sense. And I want to, but then there's this part of it goes, but that's not how I was raised. That's not what I learned in church and Catholic schooling. And, you know, and it's like, it's okay, Mom. Don't worry. It's like, don't worry about me. I'm going to be fine. You know, I'm not going to hell because I do this.
Right. And it's scary because it is free will, but that's not exhibiting, to me, that's not exhibiting free will. That to me feels like a chain.
Yep.
Like that she's connected to. And you, and the sad part is that no one's teaching the history of these things, of what the destruction of Catholicism has done
Right.
over the years, how it's ruined so many eras in the past. Like, these are things that aren't being taught, because if they were, no one would want to follow it.
Right. And that's what I always think, like, people, Catholics believe you have to believe in Jesus Christ to go to heaven. If you don't, you're not going to heaven. That's not true. Okay, this is going to bother people, and I understand. It's not true. God doesn't, because there are people there are islands of natives who have never been taught about Jesus. They don't have it. They have a higher power they believe in, but they don't have a Jesus Christ. They're not going, God did not put them on earth just because he wants them to go to hell.
Right.
Never opened them up to it. And they're not being taught by somebody this information. That's not the important part. That's such a small part of what we are supposed to do and what we need to believe in and what we need to do with people to be good. So God's not gonna be like, I'm sorry, you never got a choice you didn't get an option to learn about Jesus. You have to go to hell.
Right.
I'm like, no.
Right.
I always tell people, getting into heaven is so easy, which is, if you're Catholic, you'll understand this. We are taught getting into hell, like, you are on that list. You better work really hard off of it. And
you're gonna get coal and you're going down there.
That's it. Like, you are just, you didn't do good. You didn't have good thoughts. Guess what? You didn't do, the different, you didn't follow the commandments to a T. You didn't get baptized at the right time, whatever it is. That's not true. You get divorced. If you're Catholic, in some cases, they still believe you get divorced, you're in hell because you didn't stay married. Well, I'm divorced from an abusive husband. And I said, well, if God wanted me to stay with him, which I really doubt, and I know he didn't, I was like, I'm not going to hell because of this. And so I tell people all the time, it's so easy to get into heaven. It's very, very easy. It doesn't matter how bad of a person you are, you can get in heaven. Getting to hell is extremely hard. You have to be such a terrible person to the point where no matter what, because you're faced when you die with your life, you see, and I use Hitler as an example. Hitler sees his life. If Hitler goes, oh my God, what was I doing? I cannot believe I made those choices. I am so sorry. No, this was wrong. I know what I did was wrong. I'm sorry. He's done. I mean, he's not going to hell.
Yeah.
Now, if Hitler looks and goes, oh, can I go back?
I need to do that again.
Yeah, give me 4 minutes. I could probably get rid of a few more people.
Yeah.
If he doesn't see the error in his ways, then yes, he's going to go to hell.
Yeah.
But people do. How we are as humans compared to how we are when our spirit leaves, two different things. When you see your whole life, even I think as a human, if you were to sit down and start watching your life from the time you were born to now, there are things you'd be like, I really should never done that. Yeah. That was terrible. Like all of us at some point had picked on somebody. If you went back and watched yourself do that, you'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. That was terrible. I can't believe I did that. Yeah. You feel sorry for it. Right. If you're somebody who's just not going to go to hell, you'll be like, damn, I could have done a better job. I know so much more now.
Yeah. Different. Well, that's funny you say that, because it's like when my memory is very poor most times, but it's those things that happen that weren't good are the things that I remember, like putting someone's book in the toilet, or, flipping off a coach, or, doing those things are the things that I still remember. And I, to this day, 30 some years later, still feel bad about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I know that it was wrong, and I know that I wanted to be defiant at the time because I thought it was cool. and it just, I feel it still. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not crazy, but it's just like
Those,
the thought that,
you remember those moments. You're like, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. I can't believe I did that. And you almost feel like if I could just go back and be like, I'm really sorry. I have to have,
yeah,
like, yeah, most people who we maybe picked on were like, yeah, well, it wasn't defining for me. But it's like, but I always think, like, what if it was? What if that was a defining moment in their life? Like, oh, I could, but see, that's what changed. That's why I try to tell people, like, we all have that guilty feeling. We have that conscience inside of us that says, no, that wasn't a really good thing to do.
right.
And that's fine. That's great because that's why I try to tell people that is why you go to heaven. That's part of it. It's like if you have those moments and you feel great about them,
Yeah.
that's when you go to heaven. Like I always tell you, like even the most terrible person, a lot of them still, not all of them. There are people that do go to hell. I'm not going to lie and say that just because somebody was a serial killer that they see their life and they change a heart. No, there are
Mhm.
some. They are just that's what they've taken. That's what their choices are,
Right.
and they are going to hell.
Mhm.
But there are people who do absolute terrible things and are like, oh wow, or they have people who have mental issues and don't understand why they do the things they do 100%. But there's choices that are made. And so
Mhm.
we can't condemn everybody because they do things because we don't know what choices, why they make them. We don't understand it all. And this is why when you die, you get a chance to look at your life.
Right.
And that's your defining moment
Yeah.
is that moment when God says, okay, let's sit down and watch what you did.
Yeah.
And that's what does it.
And it's interesting how that's actually depicted in movies and,
Yeah,
getting up there and you're talking to your higher power and it's like, okay, well, what did you do? What happened? Let's
right.
go over all of this stuff.
Right. Watch it all. And like for me, I believe in multiple lives.
Yeah.
That it's not an individual. You only get one life, and that's it. I know that I'm a very old soul. I've been around for. I've come back multiple times. I know some of my
Mhm.
past lives. But when you get reborn, you don't remember anything, and you start
Right.
over. But being that I have had my gift throughout multiple lives, because being able to talk to my spirit guides, I learn and start to learn some of the past things. And that's everybody who has those deja vu moments. That's because of your past lives, something you've learned that says, hey, this is very similar. And that's why you have like, I feel like I know this person.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you do know their soul, that you've met them in a past life. So all of those things tie together. So when you do see your life and you go through all this stuff, you start to realize, like, God doesn't say, okay, well, sucks to be you. You screwed up. You still have life lessons to learn. He's like, all right, he or she. Like because I was raised Catholic, I believe it's stuck in my head as a he, even though I know
Right.
deep down inside entity. But it's kind of like saying, like, okay, well, you get to go back and you have another life to learn the things you haven't quite learned yet,
Right.
and you keep doing it, and you bring back all the different lessons, and then there's a point in time when your time is
Yeah.
done and you do get to finished. For me, I know I always laugh. I know this now. I won't know this when I come back, but I have 3 more lifetimes until I'm finished.
Really?
And then I
Wow.
graduated on from having this. Um, but I also know that I am supposed to become a spirit guide. That is the
Yeah.
purpose of everything I've gone through in my lives. So
Mhm.
what my spirit guides do for me, and they teach me and they help me with life and direction and guidance,
Mhm.
I will be doing that for somebody else.
Right.
And that at this point in my life, that's amazing. And that's something I really want. And I know that
So
I'll
cool.
have that connection when my next life, and things will come back to me faster.
Yeah.
But I do laugh because when they said, like, sure, like, you tell me this now, I'm like, yes. Next lifetime, I'll be like, God, I've been doing this for how
Right.
long? How many thoughts? Like,
Yeah, the things
oh,
that keep coming back, you get more and more that comes back, and you're like, oh, here, Groundhog Day, here we go
right.
again.
45, and I've just learned that I have 3 more
Yeah.
lives. So I can't imagine when this one ends, knock on wood, 45 years from now or more, that when I die and I start all over, I really hope I'm not 45 again when I start realizing, like, oh, I have to do this 2 more times. Like, I
Yeah.
hope
Yeah.
I learn things quicker and I surpass some of the things that have held me back now to be able to know these things. But like I always laugh. I'm like, great, I know all this now. That's great for the next lifetime. But I won't remember it until when I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's
hope that you're armed with more
right.
right out of the gate. Like if you get the gift at the same time, you'll get those deja vu moments where you can harness it a lot earlier. And
Right. And I will be honest, I have an amazing relationship with, I have three um, spirit guides, and one of them, Jacob, has been there from since I was 12, 13. I have an amazing relationship with him where we can joke about stuff and like we'll talk about how many lifetimes I've had, and am I going to finally listen? And and he'll tell me like, so are we going to let go of these things? Are we going to learn? It's like, yeah, sure, really. He's like, really? And it's like, why? And like he's shown me some of my past lives. I'm like, wow, I've been doing this for a long time, huh? That's a hard lesson for me. Patience. That was when I just recently learned. And it's unfortunately when you do learn it, it doesn't mean you're done learning it. Like I was like, okay, I've learned patience. You don't have to teach me this lesson anymore. And
yeah,
it's
you
like, no,
can't check it off the
no, I
list.
like, you don't have to be patient anymore. No, you get to keep redoing it. And so I laughed that it took me hundreds of lives to learn patience. And I was like, huh. And so we laughed. He's like, so how many more times are you gonna do this? Like, I don't know. You picked me. I like look at how many times it took me to get to here.
Right, right,
So that
right. Oh my God.
part of it is that because I become a stronger soul and because I'm stronger in this gift
Mhm.
and I'm learning more, I'm realizing what my past lives were. I'm learning those lessons I have had a hard time learning. And so it's like, okay, I get this. So I know that as much as I still have 3 more lives, my next life, I will be a stronger soul again, and I'll be stronger in my gifts, and I'll be able to learn things faster and understand things quicker. So even if I start again at 12 or 13, it will be different than what it is now. So that's always a positive thing. But still, I laugh that I'll be starting off a clean slate again.
Yeah. Well, what's so interesting is that you have a gift that is still not impervious to being human,
Right.
right? So you have who you are, you still have your upbringing, you still have all of these things that you have moved forward in life with. It's not as easy as saying, I'm going to listen and I'm going to do.
Right.
And I think that's what people might have be questioning is like, oh, well, she has this gift. She should just be floating through life. She should be able to make all this money. She should be able to do all these things, and she should quit her job right now and do the gift that she's been given. Have you been asked these questions, and how do you feel them?
So it's funny because I really should quit my job and do this full time. I mean, that is my purpose. My spirit guides tell me this, and to have faith that everything will work out. Because
But you don't yet.
yes, so I can tell people, yes, I should be doing this, and
Yeah.
that God will make sure that I get the money necessary to support myself.
Hmm.
Okay, we do need a job. I don't care what anybody says. If you can do your passion as your job and it pays your bills, that's amazing. But how many of
Okay.
these passions that were like, well, I have a girlfriend who quilts. She loves quilting. That's great, but she can't quit her. She's admitted to it. She's like, I can't quit my job and just make quilts and sell quilts and do that. She's like, it's never going to pay the bills I have. So she, this is what she does. Well, then you have same thing for me. I know it probably will pay the bills and I'll be okay,
Mhm.
but I have a fear of it. And
Yeah.
so, as much as I want to be the person who has such great faith and says, yep, I'm going to do it, I'm not able. I'm not at that point in my life to be able to do that. So, I,
When will you know? I mean, you know
I
when you know, but like
it's
what?
me. That's the human part of you that says,
Yeah.
you're crazy. I no, I have to work. This is what I know. And so, you just have to get to that point where you have to say, like I always joke, there's been times where should have left jobs and I
Yeah.
didn't. And where God's pushed me off the cliff. He's like, fine, if you're not going to go, I'm going to push you. Where like, oh, then I didn't have a choice. That job said, I'm sorry, you're not working here anymore. And I was like, oh, I really should have quit 3 years ago, huh? All right, didn't. But so sometimes you get pushed in, and sometimes again, it's a life lesson. It's your choice, and God says you have free will. You have to make this choice. I
Yeah.
can't make it. And so I tell people like, I want to. I'd love to. It's me that holds me back.
Mhm.
And I have to work through that and put myself in a situation where I feel confident that I can make it happen.
Right.
So it's that's a me thing.
Yeah.
but I can still do it where I can have my class, which I've taken a break from because, well, life changed and
Yeah.
some things have changed, makes it a little harder. But I'm working now and I'm setting a plan to say, okay, I'm going to go back to teaching again. I'm going to go back
Mm.
to um, helping people and doing readings more often and all
Mm.
these other things. And things have changed because of COVID, which actually has been a huge help for me because I can do
Yeah.
readings online through, you know, Facebook or, you know, like the, yeah, any type of video chat or whatever.
Mm.
I can go to people's homes if that's what they like.
Right.
So there's, before I was doing everything out of the house, and now I have two amazing puppy-ish, they're 2 years old, black puppies. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to do.
Yeah.
But I'm now setting up a plan to say, okay, how am I going to do this and still, you know, out of a house, or do I rent a place? And I'm working with some other people who have gifts in different, in Reiki and other things, of
Hmm.
possibly working with them and renting out a place that we can all work, you know, do it.
Yeah.
So I'm becoming more open to looking at things in a different point of view and saying, okay, I'm going to start doing this a little bit differently than I did before.
Right.
And and keep doing what I do, and not just only by word of mouth, and that I'm going to actually put myself back out there. And it's for
So
me.
there has to be some feeling of being grounded, of being secure, that you know what you're meant to do. Do you feel like for you or others that would breed laziness? Meaning you're like, you know that at some point this is what you're going to do. Do you think it fuels your fire, or at times it makes you sit back and put it to the side because you're doing something else, even knowing that at some point you'll be there? Like, how does that, have you been in both sides of that?
Yeah, I've been both sides where it's like, well, at some point it'll just fall into place. And
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I will be honest, last couple of years, I kind of let it slide and like, when the time is right, it'll come back and this and that. And I'll be doing it again, as much as I was doing it before. And then I started realizing, like, yeah, but you still got to put some effort to it. So yeah, it does bring laziness because you're like, well, it'll work out. And if it doesn't, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's not a big deal. And then you start realizing like what really makes you happy. And you start realizing in jobs that you work and how draining it is. And that
Mhm.
was one of the questions you asked too, is doing this is draining. It is. When I do parties and where I'll do readings for multiple, like for hours
Mhm.
at a time. Party starts at 5, I get done at 10, and I've read maybe, you know, 5, 6, just depends how many people. And
Mhm.
um, it's extremely draining. In fact, if I do large parties that it's a very long period of time, I get migraines. By the time I'm done and finished, on my way home, I start to get a migraine. And it's because it's physically and mentally and spiritually draining. And
Mhm.
as much as I love it and it makes me feel amazing, I have to remember that as a human, I can only do so
Right.
much, and I still have limitations. This is, you know, even those who do it all, you know, as their full time job, you have to take breaks. You
Yeah.
have to give your time to re-energize
Mhm.
and to reset. So, and the same thing though, doing job set. I'm amazing at doing construction. I am really great at project managing. I'm a really amazing estimator. That's great, but it's not fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
It makes me money, but it's not fulfilling. It doesn't make me happy.
Right.
I can leave work doing readings all day, coming home with a migraine, and yet I still like, I did good today. Like I
Yeah.
feel life and energy, and it's like this migraine's gonna suck tomorrow, but you know what? Like this is what I'm like. You just know it makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
And every time that people come back and say, because I always tell people I do readings for, please let me know what happens.
Mhm.
Two reasons. One, it affirms what I'm doing. When you tell me this happened like you said it would, okay, I really know for sure, 100% I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not making it up. It's really happening. But two, I want to hear about, like, tell me, yes, you told me I was going to meet my soulmate. I met them and they're amazing. And you were right. This is how it happened. And I want to hear the happy parts of people's lives. I want to hear when they tell me I found the job. I'm so excited. You know, I love hearing that.
Mhm.
And when I get those messages or people call me and say, I wanted you to know, you said 7 months. I kid you not, 7 months on the dot, Sarah, this happened. And
Wow.
take their story. And I'm just like, oh, and sometimes it's those stories you're like, oh oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you that way. And I get done and like, this is why I do this.
Right.
This is it. This is that knowing that I can help guide people to find closure, to find happiness, to whatever it is that they're looking for, that they need,
Mhm.
like for you and your
Yep.
family, to be able to tell your parents and you to say, I'm not telling you it's easy to lose a brother
Yeah.
and everything that happened. And I want to tell you that what I'm going to tell you is going to make it right and it's going to heal you and you're just going to be perfect. But I hope that what I tell you and what the messages I send and I can say helps you find some closure and some understanding and healing. It helps you in your healing process because I can talk to the people who've died in my life, and I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't make it easier. How I got my dog, not the dogs now, but my dog prior. A friend of mine died in a car accident, and I inherited his dog.
Mhm.
It was hard for me. I could talk to
Mhm.
him. I understood what happened. It's still my healing and losing him the way I lost him was difficult
Yeah.
for me. I can see my dog that passed away. It's still hard. I miss him, and he was so
Yeah.
important. Like it was one of those who helped who, who healed who. He and I both needed each other in our lives, and but it's like just because I can see doesn't mean it makes it easier. So when I talk to people and I say, "Your dad's here, your brother's here," there's a message. I know that doesn't fix it just like that,
Mhm.
but I do know it helps.
Oh,
And
oh God, it helps. You were instrumental in my healing with Lenny because all these thoughts go through like, how could I have saved him? How could I have done something different? I'm still grappling with the fact that he worked so hard to come off medicine and went a supplemental route, herbal route, diet route. Like I tried to help heal him because he was going through a lot of physical things too. And, I was looking at his blood work. We were trying to figure out why his labs were the way they were. And looking at it now knowing more about ketosis and how much that has helped people with their mental health, it's like I wish I could have just had the knowledge I have now then,
right,
because I couldn't make that connection. But I think maybe I would have had him a little bit longer, or I would have been able to have a better relationship with him before he was going to leave, no matter what, I think.
you're correct.
So it would have been nice to have had a closer relationship with him before he left. So those are the things that I think about now. And I think, okay, well, is that part of my journey? Am I supposed to take that path of um, doing what I do more towards mental health, which I'll have
Yeah,
to talk to you about that. So yeah, so like, you have helped me so much. And I can see, like, we just talked about Facebook and how drowning that is. But, my brother's, third year anniversary is coming up, and I'll see all these posts, and I'm like, I don't post. I don't I did initially. I don't need to.
right,
I'm okay. And I don't need to show the world that I'm sad he's gone because I miss him every day. I don't need to show
right,
anybody.
right,
And so, but the problem is I see those things, and now thinking about it just now, I'm like, okay, they didn't get the information that I got from you, right? They are still not right in themselves because they feel a certain way about losing him too. So I have to respect that
right.
and
And
make sure that they are going through their healing journey too with him being gone.
right. And everybody grieves differently. And that's like when I tell you I don't know all his friends. So there are times where he says things and I don't feel comfortable reaching out to people on Facebook and be like, hey, by the way, you don't know me, but
Yeah.
I get people and I need to pass this message on. So in some cases what I tell you is like, I hope you have a connection with that person.
Yeah.
Like recently we talked and like, and then I also ask questions too, like the burger question. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he didn't make it clear, and it was like other things were more important. And I do sometimes ask you like, wait, what are you talking about? What is that? I was like, no, but there's sometimes things are told to me so that because you and I are friends, that's a connection you and I have that I can ask you.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, who is like? Oh, now it makes so much more sense. Okay, but I don't know who's open to it, so I don't want to be out there and be like, hey, everybody, I've talked to Lenny, and this is what he wants you to know because there's also people aren't ready to hear it right away,
Yeah.
and you know if I was to run into that person on the street, that's different. I've had where spirits have come to me and said, you need to talk to this person.
Yeah.
I don't know them at all. I've been in a store and I was like, all right. So I go up to them, excuse me, I'm really sorry to bother you. And I don't know what your belief system is, but I'm a medium. I'm clairvoyant, so I see spirits. Your mother's here and wants you to know, and I will tell them. I'm really, and some people are like, okay, thanks. Other people are like, oh my God,
That's what I needed.
I was, yeah. Some coworkers from a past job were like, you can do this. So then we were all drinking at a bar. I don't usually do it drinking. I only had one drink, so I do have standards. They're like, come on, do it. And I was like, oh, I'm at a bar. As soon as I start doing this, every single spirit in here is going to be all out. It's like, and bars don't have a lot of great happy spirits. So I was like, all right. So I did like the quick rundown. I stopped by like, okay, you don't really believe in this, but your cousin this and this, and her nickname was this for you, and then that, and then he's, okay, and you're this and this, and then I threw everybody. So I was like, okay. So I go to the bathroom, and an angel's coming to me, tell me I have to talk to the bartender. I'm like, oh no, 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 I'm not doing this. So 15, 20 minutes of being berated by this angel. I'm like, fine. So I like, excuse me, bartender, can you come here? And I like, hi, I'm clairvoyant, I see dead people, and your angel needs me to talk to you. And he just looks at me like, okay. It's like, I'll make it quick. But the decision you're making with the guy that you're with is really wrong. He's going to lead you down this bad path. And I just like quickly go into it. So I just need you to know this. Okay, I'm going to go back to my table. And he looks, it's like, he starts crying and says, you understand. I have
Oh my God.
a dilemma. I don't know what to do. And he's like, can I come around and give you a hug? I'm like, okay. So he gives me a hug. He's like, I've been asking God for guidance. He goes, you're my angel. I go, no, I'm not. The angel came to me. I'm just a messenger. It's like, you don't understand. He goes, literally this morning, I was like, God, I can't do this. I need you to give me a sign. I've been talking to you for days. I need a sign. I need you to tell me. And so that's what I was. So I go back to him, like, what did you do? I'm like, this is why I don't do this in bars. And I was like,
thanks, guys.
it's like, Angel's been talking to me. I said I had to say something because he was not going to leave me alone. I go, for weeks, he'd be hounding me. So I'd end up here anyways. So they're like, oh my God. And the bar's like, can I get you a free drink? I'm like, no, I'm fine, thanks. But so I do now. If I was a teenager, there's no way in hell I would ever talk to anybody. Right. But I will tell people now, like, hey. But I don't feel like over Facebook is like, hey, so I should tell you this. Unless a spirit really comes strongly to me, or like Lenny say, I need you to tell this person this now. Right. Then I will. But a lot of times it's like, oh, I see things, I hear things. It's like, that's not good about that.
You have to protect yourself too, because you don't want to end up in a bad situation. Because I mean, I don't feel that an angel would push you to be in a bad situation. Like, you, again, we're humans interacting with humans. You
Right.
don't know how that other person's going to react with the message, no matter how strong it is. So you have to also be very careful with where you're at.
Oh yeah.
If other people are around, like.
And that's the thing. It's like, how do you, and when you're out in a public place, how do you talk to somebody about, hey, your loved one needs to talk to you that passed? Yeah. Like, people cry all the time at my readings. And so like, great, we're at the mall. Hey, hold on, I got Kleenex here, you know?
Someone
like, what am I?
to me in the mall, and I don't even know if she was a real, I mean, she had a card, was supposedly a psychic, but I was sitting on a chair at the mall. She walked past me and then came back to talk to me, and I'm like, okay.
Right. What are you, like, I'm out of business cards. I haven't made ones up yet. So like, I can have people with nothing in hand. Like, huh, yeah. I'm a crazy person who's going to talk to you. Fire in hand. And it's worked out for me because I can say things that hit points that people understand. Yeah. It's not like I'm talking to them. They're like, what are you?
Yeah, this woman was very vague. So something must have pulled her to me, or like, I don't know. She wasn't even from here. She may have been from Illinois. I don't even know, but I was here in Rhode Island, and I was just kind of like, but there was no concrete information. There's no specifics. It was just an overall feeling.
Right.
So it's hard to tell. Like, I don't know, but it was just, it made me think. It was cool. And it had to have been before Lenny passed, because otherwise I maybe have asked her more questions at the time.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting.
It is. And always glad to answer people's questions and talk about my weirdness and, you know,
It's awesome.
what I can do. And like you said, this is my passion. This is my purpose in life. And I know it is. And it does, yes, the money pays the bills, but I still do a lot of stuff that I don't charge people for. And
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, if you have a question you didn't think about after your reading, or you have something else you need help with, let me know.
Yeah.
And I have people, I don't have any, I like, don't worry about the money. I have a friend that has been going through hard times, and I've done readings. She's like, I know, I'd like, don't worry about
Yeah.
it. We'll figure it out later or something else when it's time, because I still firmly believe I have the gift to help people. And, I do get it that if I want to do this for money, I have to understand that, but that's not why I do it.
Right.
And
And that's
so,
how I am with my business too. And I'm always giving free information, or if people have questions they can ask, or I go through my consultation process for free. Most people don't do that. They'll charge 60, $100 just for the consultation process. And I'm pretty much 2 seconds away from giving them a full plan before they even pay me. And I'm like, and like for
here's
you,
what
it's like
people we are.
terrible, terrible. And I'm like, this is kind of all I do, so I kind of have to charge. But that's when I think when you know that you are, doing what you're passionate about for the most part, is when you want to talk about it, you want to give people free information or guidance or whatever. And but for those of you who are watching, let's get Sarah off her construction job.
Working on.
So how how can everyone find you, contact you? What's the best way to
Okay,
do
so
that?
you can contact me. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I've had, Instagram for a while, but never did anything with it. So
Now
I'm
it's back.
start working on it. So you can reach me here on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, just underneath my name. I don't think there's a ton of Sarah Maynes, but I have an open Facebook, so you can see all that. You can message me, and you know what? If you really need something, here's my phone number. It's 630-561-6150.
Awesome.
Text me, call me. I do, like I said, have a full-time job, so I prefer being text first before you call. Or if you call and leave a message, that's fine too. I will get back to you. Even will stop when I'm doing it work. Say, hey, I got your message. I will get back to you after this time, or give me some time. Reach out to me. My rates are still the same, so I'm $65 for a half hour, and then $100 for an hour. I don't. If there's something we're talking about in the reading, I'm not going to stop. I'm like, sorry, time's up.
Yeah,
You don't get.
yeah.
I do finish it.
Cliffhanger.
But also, if you have questions about what I do, how I do it, or anything like that, reach out to me. Just, say, hey, I saw your interview with Nikki and have questions. I am very open. I don't have a problem. You can ask me any question you want, and I will tell you it. Also, all my readings, I don't tell anybody your name. They're confidential. I may use some of the things that I get from your readings as teaching tools or to talk to people. I never tell them. I don't go out to people and talk about my readings with clients.
Yeah.
So nobody's gonna know that if you have a reading with me, I'm never gonna say, well, I had this reading with Nikki. Let me tell you what's going on in
Yeah,
her life.
yeah. Gossip, right.
No, I don't tell. My boyfriend doesn't know all the stories. Doesn't know everything that I do. I mean, he knows what I do, but he doesn't know about all my clients and all the different things. He just knows I go do readings. And I don't, like I said, I don't share. Everything's confidential. It's between you. So even if you feel like you're doing something wrong, I'm not going to be like, oh, there's no judgment here.
Right.
Plus,
Right.
the things I did in my life, it's no judgment at all.
Yeah.
So always feel open to ask me any questions. If you really do have a hardcore decision in life that you need help with, I'm more than happy, and I'm not going to judge you on anything that you are going through and the choices you've made, because that's not my job.
Right.
That's the higher power job. I'm just here to help guide you to help you get to the place you're supposed to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This
Thank
has
you.
been so awesome. I do want to have you back because one, I want to talk about how you lost your gift at some point, if you're willing to
Yes.
talk about that. But we don't say anything now. And your weight loss journey. I would love to talk about that too.
Well, you were
So I'll,
a huge part of my weight loss journey. I mean, you got me to the place where we realized I need to make other
yeah,
changes too that weren't possible on my own. So really, God brought us back together for so many different reasons in our
I
lives.
believe so too.
And so you are a huge blessing and part of the
Oh, thank you.
year and happier and in the place I am doing the things I'm doing because it's like you said, the purpose, how we became close. You've come back to my life multiple times. We've
Yeah.
come into each other. But this recent one has been so important to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate it was because of Lenny's death, but I am thankful all the time, every day, Nikki, that you and your parents have come back into.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
You guys have really helped me through my journey and my difficult times. And I just want to say, I am sorry that was because of Lenny leaving, but
Yeah.
I am so blessed and so happy that I have all you guys back in my life.
Oh. I love you. I love you so, so much. And like I said, you've been instrumental in getting me through Lenny's death, even to this day. And I don't know where I would be without you, to be honest. In my head, I have a daughter. Obviously, I got to keep going. That wouldn't have changed, but I don't think I would be mentally and emotionally in a place where I am now. And I still have a lot to work on, but I fear we would all three of us would be in a much me and my parents would be in a much worse place for it without your help. So you guys reach out to Sarah. She's such a beautiful person, and don't be scared to ask questions, because this does fly in the face of so much that many of us growing up in a religious background, it's considered wrong. But don't be afraid to ask. And even if it's negative, she can still help guide you through it and
Yeah.
give you some understanding of what it is in a more factual way. So, all right. I love you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later.